So in this video, I'm going to show you how to create offset columns in Bootstrap. First, let's get back to the basics and let's get rid of this nested columns over here until we get back to just having one row and two columns. Okay, so the reason you may want to use nested columns is sometimes you may not want the content to start all the way at the very left. You may want it to start slightly in the middle. So there's one very easy way to do it in Bootstrap, and that is by using offset columns. To create an offset column, first create the column that you want, column MD6, okay? And after the class called MD6, let's add call MD. Okay, this is for medium-sized screens, and let's put a dash and go to offset. So you can see in Bootstrap you can offset your columns from 0 all the way to 12. Okay, and one thing that I have to mention here is that the column for medium or large can only be offset by offsets for medium or large. What I mean is, if you have used column medium 6, then the offset must also be column medium offset, okay, 6. And you can't use column MD or column LG offset 6 when the main class here is column MD6. Alright, so something strange has happened over here. What you can see is that the first column, which is 6 columns in a row, now has moved all the way up to here and pushing the other the other column down. Why that happens is because we have specified to offset this column by 6 columns. So although you can't see it here, but it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns, and this column here starts in the 7th column. As for why this column gets pushed to the bottom is because at any given time in the row you can only have 12 columns. So this actually is using 12 columns. You have 6 columns with the actual content and you're offsetting it by 6 columns, and that's why this div column gets pushed to the bottom. Now let's make some changes over here. Let's make the width of the primary column, or the column with the content, let's change it to 4, and now you can offset the column by 4 as well. And you'll see that the column has not only shrunk in size, in the width of it, it's now smaller, but it has also moved a little more towards the left. So what happens is that now the column width is 4 and it's offset by 4, but this column here still gets pushed to the bottom because the total of 4 and 4 is 8 plus 6 is 14. So we can change this to 4, and now everything is beautiful in a row because the total of all the columns, even the offset column, at any given time must equals to 12. Now let's try another example. Let's say I want the content of the column to be 6, and I can offset this column by 3, and that's still not right because the total is not 12. So what should the other column be? 3? Yep, you guessed it right. In fact, you can even delete the other column and it doesn't matter, because this is how Bootstrap works. It counts your columns, the main column here, and it knows that this column has to be 6 and the offset by 3, so it pushes the content by 3 columns, and it already knows that there are 3 columns at the end here. Even if you don't enter any content, the main div tag that you're working with, as you can notice with the background color, it does not push all the way to the right. It only sticks to the 6 columns here, and there is 3 columns in this area here and another 3 columns for a total of 12 columns in one row. So knowing how to offset your columns can be very useful. Let me give you an example, a real life example from my website. So here is my website, and you can see the video here. Okay, now I put this video in a row, but I did not make it 12 columns because that will make the video too big. So what I've done is I've put the video in only 6 columns, but I have offset it by 3 columns. So there's a space of 3 columns over here and space of 3 columns over here, and that makes the video in the perfect size to be on my website. And this is one of the examples of why you would want to use offset content. It can also be useful for headlines, for example. So if you have a long headline and you put it in 12 columns, it will wrap all the way from the left to all the way to the right, and that makes it really difficult to work with. You can instead offset the columns, so that will make the possible width of your headline within a more readable area. Okay, so that's all for using offset columns that I have explained in this tutorial.